A Friendship Guide. Friendship Introduction. Is loneliness the biggest spiritual mental health crisis of the human race? I think it is. Narcissism only works to a point. Making yourself the superstar of your life gets boring and empty sometimes. Animals are great at unconditional love, but people still want a kindred spirit soulmate kind of attachment with their parents, family, friends, a lover, etc. This book is about finding friends, love, and being likable. I listen to Christian testimonies mostly on YouTube. There are many channels like 700 Club, 100, Huntley Street, etc. where broken people are looking for love. Many eventually find it through some church community. I believe that as people pass 30 years old, the avenues for the friendships of youth run out, kind of like it's not appropriate to hang out in bars or gyms anymore as an older person. I created both a nonprofit and an activist book. I believe that the ulterior motive for people joining these groups is a social life. Nowadays we got Meetup, Eventbrite, Craigslist, etc. that list events, but you still have to get out there to meet people in the flesh. As far as online friendships go, people still want real friends to talk to face, to walk with and do things with. It doesn't matter if you're married, in a family, and are surrounded by a bunch of people. People want a true friend who sees life like they do, that they can feel relaxed with. Anybody can be lonely in a crowd. The issue is whether there is someone that you feel good with as you are, without being fake. What is it that makes people so distant? Is it some invisible standard in society? If you're not rich enough, cool enough, etc., some people feel inferior, so they stop looking for friends because they feel they're not good enough to some standard out there. Look at MTV's Catfish show. Many people hide behind fake identities to talk to strangers to get a pseudo-intimacy. If I say be friends with yourself, be happy with you, it sounds empty. Most people do not have an internal fiber to go through life happy alone. I saw a woman get murdered after she fell for some online guy, sent him all her money, then took a plane trip to the UK where she disappeared. There was another case of a woman sending some guy over $1 million. Paul Simon's song American Tune has a line which says, "I don't have a friend who feels at ease." It's true, especially as you get older. Many people measure each other by job status and material worth. It's hard to present yourself as decent person looking or friends when you're around a lot of people who are brainwashed by capitalism and pop culture coolness. You have to measure up to some phony standard, otherwise people don't think you're worthy of their friendship. A true friend doesn't care about those things. They like for you and that's it. Dale Carnegie wrote How to Win Friends and Influence People in 1936. You can see a summary at en.wikipedia.org/how_to_win_friends_and_influence_people. I never really liked it because it encourages you to be phony. Show an interest in people even if you don't care about them. The book says that if you meet someone, you're supposed to ask them questions about themselves, because Carnegie wrongly assumed that everyone has a big ego dying to get out to be heard, but it's phony, it's empty. I've met people and they immediately launched into their 20 questions shtick pretending to be interested in me, but I sensed it was Carnegie 101, the kind of crap you learn in business school or at a self-help seminar. Just be yourself. If you have a good soul, you are what you are. Everybody has intuition. I don't trust intuition wholly because many evil people learn how to be charming. It's a part of being evil, according to Machiavelli's book The Prince, to pretend you're the nicest, coolest person ever. An enlightened person doesn't care if people like him or not, because the world is evil and screwed. You know within your soul that you're a good person. Beyond that, friendship and love are a bonus. I wrote this book because I was reminiscing about my life. I think the best times of my life were when I was young and I lived among a loose community of young people in our neighborhood who hung around with each other, drank and did drugs. We used to work out at the gym, then we'd leave, go to a bar to drink or a restaurant to eat. For several years, we used to work out as a group of friends almost every night, have a few drinks, then we'd smoke weed, hash, crack, etc. We got high a lot, but we weren't addicts or anything. We just had a lot of fun running with life. That was a pretty good life night after night for years on end, but then people kind of like grew up and that phase of my life was over. I can't repeat it now because no one wants to hang out with an old guy. Youth should be a time of fun. At least 6 good friends have already passed on. My other real good bosom buddy kindred spirit friends live all over the world. I suppose I could contact them by finding them on the internet, but I accept my life right here, right now. What I had with my friends was in the past. It doesn't make me feel any less a longing for those easygoing, friendly fun times of youth, but I accept my life and wrote this book as a homage to any friendship anywhere. Youth is a time for running around, doing things for fun. As you get older, you get more loner because older people aren't accepted anywhere unless it's with other older people. I reminisce when I listen to Paul Simon's Old Friends or Neil Diamond's song about friends and think friends are probably the most valuable thing you can have in life aside from your own identity. They're not like lovers because there is always a factor of sex involved. With friends it's just people liking each other purely for who they are. So this is my little homage to friendship. The first part is how to be a good person and a friend, then I move into the modern day search for friends, how to find new ones and pen pals using social media, etc. We all have existential loneliness regardless of how intimate and close we think we are to other people. Even the closest among us are universes apart, so take it easy no matter what. You can't force likability. Low-level scumbags often sense if you're one of those people that needs to be liked by other people, so they hold it over you, trying to say you're not good enough or that everyone hates you. People like me laugh at this low-level stuff, but time and time again, I've seen it in domestic violence cases. I wrote a book on violence against women. There is a lot of emotional violence, but it's easy to nullify it. Just laugh at it and ignore it. You don't have to listen to any manipulative person. Just listen to yourself. Check how you treat animals. If you love animals, simply strive to treat people the same way you treat animals. I show respect and I never impose on people. I don't try to force conversations. I know when something is dead. If 2 people like each other, silence is okay. You don't have to fill a date or social encounter up with constant conservation. A cool person feels relaxed, they back off and feel the harmony. Let it flow. Do something fun and happy together. Enjoy the moment. Don't talk as though you're going through a checklist of questions. I still watch the dating shows to see all the mistakes they make. That's why a book like this is kind of necessary. This book is not just a homage to friendship with a bunch of friendship quotes and one-liners, but a how-to book that tells you how to make friends and keep them both online and in the real world. The easiest way to make a friend is by being a friend. Do animals like you? How do you make an animal like you? Why do animals hate someone? It's the same thing for animals as it is for people. Everybody gives off a vibe. My cat runs for me almost every time I come home except when he's sleeping. Why? Because he knows I love him no matter what and constantly do nice things for him. I show him lots of love. I give him a massage every time he wants one. I dance with him freely with abandon. I found some videos on being likable. wikihow.com/be-likable. wikihow.com/be-more-likable. Lifehack.org has good articles on being likable. I typed likable person into bing.com/images. The pictures are about people, animals either smiling or looking relaxed like they're enjoying the moment. A lot of people walk around with scowls on their faces but don't realize that this is their default resting facial posture. Here's how the dictionary defines likable. Pleasant. Friendly. Easy to like. Nice. Agreeable. Affable. Amiable. Genial. Personable. Charming. Popular. Good-natured. Engaging. Appealing. Endearing. Convivial. Congenial. Simpatico. winning, delightful, enchanting, lovable, adorable, sweet, darling, lovely. I added. Happy, smiling, easygoing, relaxed, fun, funny, easy breezy cool. Relationships with all other people are a roller coaster. You could be close and intimate with your lover right now, then tonight she's like in outer space, totally detached from you, but then she comes around again tomorrow. It's the same with friends. Everybody has their own problems. Sometimes they don't want others to get too close. Friends betray friends all the time. It's not just with lovers, like sleeping with your friend's lover. It's money. If a friend asks for a loan, be ready to lose that friend. Good friends don't ask friends for money. I've been burned, which is why I won't lend anyone money anymore. If anybody asks me for money, I don't want to be their friend. I've had friends steal from me a number of times. It's the way of the modern world. I made peace with God. I said God lives inside of me. I will honor who He created me to be, and that's it. Just live by my pact with the great Creator. That's the best anyone can do. Everybody has still that feeling of loneliness deep down inside. It will never go away because that's what being human is. You are alone in your own head. You always will be. You can have great friends and lovers, but they'll always disappoint you in some way, or you will disagree on some things. Sometimes I get angry at small things. I was really angry because a friend took liberties and decided to mess with my stuff without asking me first. I had to cool off, then say nothing. I could have blown up. I didn't. This is how easy it is to strain a friendship. I've strained friendships over political differences. I thought one guy and his party were evil a-holes. My friend liked him. We're not close friends anymore. People have kids because they think they will be loyal to them and keep them company when they feel lonely, but most kids will go their own way. Nothing is promised beyond today. Try to release your natural love right now. I have pets because I can be easy and loving with them. The Bible says love your fellow man. It's hard when people do things that make you angry. I can be superficially pleasant, but I rarely have deep kindred spirit soulmate conversations anymore. I think it's a part of aging. People get cynical and tired. We accept each other, and that's the extent of our friendships, superficial pleasantries. I accept the superficial nature of society. I don't get too personal. I stay pleasant and friendly. TheLoveFoundation.com. The Love Foundation is a non-profit organization with the mission of inspiring people to love unconditionally. Chapter 1. Everyone wants to be part of a community of kindred spirits. Ayn Rand, Find Your Own Kind. Within the realm of philosophical thought, Ayn Rand, AynRand.org, symbolizes the ideology called objectivism, an attitude to life made up of 5 factors: self-contemplation, self-creation, rationality, atheism, happiness. This is about as real as it gets when you peel away all the delusions that man has created for himself. It's profoundly pro-free, enlightened individual like her novel and movie The Fountainhead, where Gary Cooper blew up the buildings he designed rather than let the bureaucrats change them. After all the searching I've done in my life through travel, seeing the world, doing a bunch of different things from the cerebral to the physical, meeting all kinds of different people, doing all manner of recreational substances, pursuing hedonism in many varied forms, examining religion, New Ageism, all my formal schooling, all the books I read, all the TV I've watched, profound discussions with deep thinkers, creative experiences, etc., I've come to some basic truths, which is what this book is about. But the meaning of life never finally hit me clearly until I read The Fountainhead by Ayn Rand, where in her little introduction at the beginning, she quotes from Nietzsche's Beyond Good and Evil, saying the noble soul has reverence for itself. Despite everything they teach us about being pro-social people who love humanity, we don't owe anybody anything. We're free to do what we want with our lives as long as we don't hurt other people in the process. We don't have to play society's game about being these soppy, conformist citizens who do the same things everybody else does. Man's ego/soul is the fountainhead of human progress, therefore evolution. Self-interest is good and right because what noble souls truly feel inside is a natural desire to release all their talents in all their splendor onto the world to get what they want out of this life, and in our capitalist world, this means working your butt off to give people what they want, help, inspire, or amuse them in some way, so you can get what you want to live for the ultimate purpose, which Rand described as living for the glory of life in all its passion, beauty, and sensations, always moving forward to create transcendence, never looking back much except for the occasional trip down memory lane for old time's sake, which makes you feel good too. To live for the glory of life is to actively seek out a glorious lifestyle for yourself, to become the ideal person you want to be, to create personal happiness each and every day, and know that somewhere, somehow, sometime, somebody else wants it too, a soulmate that you can love and share your glory with, and other people, kindred spirits like you who you can share your life with in an easygoing manner, just like in her novel Atlas Shrugged, where some of the enlightened people got together to reject the larger capitalist, conformist society to live for themselves as a bunch of friends in their own little utopia, a place called Galt's Gulch. These few enlightened people chose to create their own little world, sharing their appreciation for the true beauty of life. So to my way of thinking, I start with myself. I believe in nothing but what I have in front of me in the physical world. I seek glory within myself then, because I'm a human being who wants to share his life with others. I want to live in some surrealistic beautiful place where all is good and everybody's good friends with each other. It rarely happens in real life, but this is really the goal, to end up in some sweet place with like-minded cool people like yourself grooving to life, each of you with enough money to enjoy your lives. Real life is hard work, tedium, the never-ending quest for money, so the goal is to make enough to be financially free, then find an Eden someplace where there are other cool people hanging out enjoying life like you with the same attitudes. Ayn Rand had a thing about what she called the parasites of the world, all the deadheads out there either collecting welfare, sponging off somebody else, or not contributing much beyond working a dull job, then watching TV and eating junk food. You either have a primal drive to live for the glory of life or you're a deadhead. The glory of life is about keeping the soul fires burning brightly and steadily always, living for your noble visions and true potential, exploring it all, even the hedonistic, sensual side which society has tried to separate you from ever since you were a little kid via entities called guilt, the lame goods of pop culture consumerism, the accolades and trophies of status and achievement. Ayn Rand and others like her had an interesting take on non-enlightened people loosely classified as parasites. They fit into two groups, either bullies or victims. Bullies are trying to release the negativity they feel within by exploiting others to get what they can for themselves any way they can without regard for the sanctity of life. Victims are whimpering pussies who simply accept life as is, chew their cud, watch TV, play bingo, and think how pathetic their lives are, often blaming them on things beyond their control like the government, the system, rich people, a poor childhood, etc. Enlightened people see life for exactly what it is. They live for neither victory nor defeat, just experience, just trying to be enlightened, knowing what's going on, trying to be a light in their own way, not trying to vanquish the spirits of others via competition of any form whatsoever. The world is abundant. There's plenty for everyone if your effort is true. Cooperation is a much better way to live than competition. Victories always belittle someone else. Competition with others is the wrong way to live. Competition with yourself is great. God's law says to love everybody, but objectivist law says you only love and respect people who respect themselves and are actively trying to do something worthy with their lives beyond just paying their way by working a dull job somewhere. You don't owe anybody anything. You can be pleasant to anyone you want face to face, but your true kindred spirits, true friends will be far and few between. Deal with the real world to get your routine tasks done, but live in that inspired headspace as much as you can. That's what makes you different from most of the population, your conscious effort to stay inspired while most people are happy just existing with good food, a dull job, glossy magazines, a nice car and TV. It's not enough. A life well lived demands true effort from your soul almost all the time. It doesn't matter what it is, the fact is that you're not really living unless you're expending the energy of your soul, and if you can share this lifestyle with others, you'll be one of the few who really wins the game of life. Regardless of where you go, if you're an enlightened free spirit, the wheat will eventually separate from the chaff, and in every crowd, you'll find a few enlightened souls like yourself different from the rest, trying to do something positive in life and spreading their inspiration onto their little circle of friends. You are what you surround yourself with. Hang around with parasites, you'll be like them. Hang around with one-dimensional positive power clones and you'll be like them. Hang around with esoteric inspired people and it'll rub off. Enlightened people want to get energy from other people, so they seek out energetic, positive people like themselves so they can keep each other inspired. That's the way it goes. Truly enlightened people know that other enlightened people want inspiration just like they do, so it's relatively easy to befriend enlightened people when you find them. If you can surround yourself with a community of enlightened people all trying to live a great life respecting each other for their individual differences, you'll indeed be one of the few lucky ones who gets to live a glorious life. Ayn Rand 100.org/lifeworks.html. What nonconformists really want: a sense of community. A true community is opening up your heart, enjoying the company of others without pretense, accepting people as they are. I don't want my tombstone to read, "He had a great retirement plan." Hermann Hesse wrote a story called Narcissus and Goldmine, which was basically a commentary on society about two monks, with Narcissus as the symbolic stern, disciplinary, moralistic, corny rigid father figure, and Goldmine, the son, the free-spirited, romantic dreamer living in a world of his own creation that didn't fit into the conformist world nor the set plans for his life. Hesse portrayed two people which are two incomplete parts of a whole being. The hippies of the 60s were dreamy and romantic in opposing a repressive conformist society, but they essentially had no direction or focus. They rebelled but didn't have the guts, discipline, intelligence, structure, order, nor the vision to go out and create their own version of utopia. There are plenty of aimless hedonists, nonconformists, and misfits around just living for the next experience. In fact, most of the youth who fancy themselves as cool people are like this. All of us have an Eden inside where all is right and beautiful, but most of us just relegate it to our fantasies. We don't bother to try to make it real in real life. Throughout history, many oppressed people have tried to seek out their own promised land where they could express themselves freely and live in peace and prosperity with like-minded people, all the way from the Jews in the early days looking for the promised land after the exodus from Egyptian rule, to the religious groups during the Reformation, to Jack Kerouac, on the road, with his beatnik crowd, to the hippies of the 60s, to some cults today. It's all about people trying to find people like themselves to share their lives with each other in peace, freedom, and beauty. Science fiction in general is fraught with stories of little groups of misfits or rebels who cross into the ether to build a world of their own somewhere, usually on another planet, an Eden of sorts. The Star Trek episode about intergalactic misfits from the original series so aptly captured this longing of nonconformists who don't fit into the larger capitalist society or don't particularly want to fit in. Their quest ended when the plants on the planet they went to were poisonous, but Spock said it was noble for them to keep searching. The Chrysalids by John Wyndham was the same story: people who didn't fit in, first sensing each other through ESP, then finding their own group of like-minded kindred spirits on the edge of the Badlands. People want to live in an Eden with others like themselves. That's what we all want, a heaven on earth, living great lives surrounded by people like ourselves who think like us, share our visions, and want to enjoy the journey together as friends, kindred spirits, and soulmates without worrying about getting robbed, stabbed, raped, or something like that. Recently, I heard a new term going around called gulching, which is precisely this: people who get away from the mainstream culture to live in small communities with others like themselves, being as self-sufficient as they can be. The term comes from Galt's Gulch, the hidden mountain community that the heroes of Ayn Rand's novel Atlas Shrugged retreated to when they got tired of injustice and the hypocrisy of the mainstream society. The point is, don't be a rebel without a cause and be angry and directionless like the novel by Robert Lindner portrayed. Channel your energies into expressing yourself and developing the free life you imagine for yourself with like-minded people around you. The reward of life is the process, living freely, hopefully with kindred-spirited friends to share it with. Life is the magical mystery tour the Beatles described, even though it doesn't seem to be for most working stiffs who wonder where have all the flowers gone. California dream in such a long time ago as they give away the passions of youth for a steady paycheck and a dull job. Most of us who follow this script feel somewhat empty inside because we're not really living a free life true to ourselves. We simply don't realize the journey to contentment is not all the glitter of a materialistic, capitalist world which the corporate structure wants us to chase. It's in you, in your soul. It's the process of living out who you really are unencumbered by the large brainwashing machine around you. Enlightened people want a sense of community, not just to be clones living in a sanitized capitalist middle-class neighborhood where you're brainwashed into fitting a certain mold, starting all the way back to the toys they gave you, the schools they sent you to, your religion, etc. As honest people grow up and mature, they question all this agenda. Many don't feel right about it but have no place to turn since everywhere they look around them is a saturation of the conformist lifestyle. Occasionally pockets of like-minded people break through, find each other and create good little communities for a while, but they're far and few between. People want this sense of community, a place where they can be themselves freely and share their lives with others like them. This is the mythical Eden we all want, just like Ayn Rand with her novel Atlas Shrugged. The purpose of life is to free yourself from the greater society enough to be yourself freely, but you want to share it with other like-minded people who appreciate the beauty, fun, and adventure of life just as much as you do, kinda like that old song by the New Seekers, A World of Our Own. It's like the Indians of old, modern-day bike gangs, small towns united by a common means of making a living, or churches with tight congregations. They have this sense of community we all want. Being enlightened and free is great, but it's greater if you do it with a community of like-minded kindred spirits. Just like we all want to live in an Eden with like-minded souls, I've found pockets of Eden within modern-day society. Anywhere there's a group of like-minded people mutually enjoying themselves together is a mini Eden for these people for a while. It could be a choir, a sports team, a dance club, a piano bar, a bowling league, a political group with a vision, a group of buddies who sit around, get high and talk about life, a church group, anywhere that like-minded people congregate to share life and feel safe and good with each other. If you go to some of them communities of expatriates from the modern English-speaking countries in places like Jamaica, Mexico, Costa Rica, or Thailand, you often find small groups of people who think like you and are enjoying their lives, as I found when passing through a few of these places. Generally, hippie-type people who paid their dues, worked their time to earn a stash of cash, then cut out of life in the traditional modern world. They have their houses with all the modern conveniences, but life is now simpler, more basic, and primal. Kindred spirits by generation, community by age. We're all victims of our generation, the era in which we were born. We relate to those people in our age group and almost no one else. The song White Cliffs of Dover captures a romantic, sentimental feeling from the war years when an entire society felt united by the war effort, but it's almost gone. That generation is almost passed on. That'll be us someday, a bunch of old people who had our chance to run and roam. Then we'll have to give way to a younger generation and wait to pass on as our good old days are lost forever, these days right now. Even now, my kindred spirits are the youth of the 80s who had their good times back then. We're a little older, but some of us still remember those days fondly. I don't particularly relate to the youth culture of today. I know a cool older dude who's hooked on the jazz era of the 50s. The 60s hippies are still fond of those good old days, their good old lazy, hazy days of summer, just like the hip-hop rappers now will look back at these days with fondness in 10 or so years. I make damn sure I get my enjoyment and exploration out of life all the time, because I know only too well how soon I'll age and end up on the scrap heap of humanity. My original era of good times was the hippie era of the 60s. I was just a kid then, but I went out exploring my hippie roots early, from about the age of 14 on, posing as a 17 to 19-year-old. It was that magical time of youth with other naive, idealistic people like me sharing our lives in fun, the good old days that keep me going on, craving to experience that magical time all over again continuously as I move on in the years. But the world is now much too violent, the innocence is gone. People can't go out and live that hippie lifestyle anymore en masse, hitchhiking, doing drugs and crashing at people's pads who you don't know because there are too many predators out there these days. The in crowd of my youth has pretty well gone off into middle-age complacency, but I still fantasize about my good old days in the 70s and the 80s. Whenever those VH1 documentaries come on about the good old days, I watch them to bring me back to memories of my youth. I have a sentimental streak for the carefree years of my youth, but that was then, this is now. I continue on living a good life regardless of what the cultural climate is around me. I won't go gently off into that middle-aged dead zone. I'll fight for my youth till the bitter end. I saw a TV documentary series that covered all the decades in the recent past and romanticized them with interviews from those who lived them. The 40s was the big bands and the community of war, the 50s was jazz and capitalism, the 60s was rock and roll and hippies, the 70s was disco and the energy crisis, the 80s was digital pop video, excessive hedonism, wealth, the 90s was the corporatization of everything from pop culture to the definition of coolness, which is where I got off the boat, said to myself that modern day, capitalist society is screwed, better live my own life, figure out what works for me, not what they tell me what works for me. We all remember the most fun times of our lives in a romantic glow. It never goes away. If you're smart, you'll keep it close in your mind, body, and soul till death do you part, and find a few friends who feel those sentiments to share the journey with. Chapter 2. Friendship, sharing ourselves. Friendship and warmness, we seem to have lost it. I've been listening to love, sex talk and advice on YouTube for the past 2 weeks. What gets me in all of it is the clinical nature of it, the detachment of it, everybody with new techniques and ideas. They don't seem to talk about old-fashioned human contact. What people need in this cold, lonely world is someone to be nice to, talk to, listen to, sympathize and maybe understand them for a minute. That will go a lot further than any therapy or cool-sounding psychobabble. How to make friends. 1. Put people at ease. Be a warm individual, or at least act like one. Develop a rapport with people. Make friends by being a friend. Be kind, gentle, friendly, help people, inspire them, be useful and listen to them when they talk to you. People think they're more advanced, cute, cool, and special than they actually are, so your job is to help them along with this delusion. To me, a friend is someone I can relate to in a real way, who wants to have easy time together and good conversation about nothing in particular. I don't get very deep with most people beyond intellectual conversation as a hobby, but the operative word for true friendship is to really care about someone. A friend is someone who doesn't care if you look like a nerd, they will be nice to you no matter what. If I meet someone somewhere, I will make a few innocuous, neutral or pleasant comments, then say something from the latest headline, and if they want to talk, they will answer back, and in a few minutes, we will be exchanging good conversation. If they don't, that's fine. I don't need to talk to strangers. When people meet you for the first time, they're thinking, is he or she an ass or a cool person? Don't be an ass. Try to come off as an easygoing, unassuming person. A lot of people think other people are spending their time thinking about them, but the truth is that we're all spending our time thinking about ourselves. So if you spend time with someone acting like you're thinking about how special they are, you will make a friend. Help people, talk nicely, listen, and they will befriend you. The secret to making friends and influencing people is to take the focus away from you and put it on whomever you're with. Don't go overboard with phony praise, just be a nice person, show interest in others, like them, and try to genuinely serve people. Be easygoing, occasionally funny, educated, informed, and people will be attracted to you. Don't get too deep both philosophically or by asking people too many questions about their personal lives. They will tell you on their own if they want. When you do all this, most people will like you. It's the law of reciprocity, most people return the favors you do for them. If you're a nice person, people will be nice to you. Everybody feels special to themselves, so you have to make them feel special too. Friends can make the day go easier and help you out when you're down and out. Friends are people you can spend easy time with and not worry about anything. Friends are people who respect you and respect what you're doing with your life. A true friend is loyal. When everybody's backing off because you're going through hard times, a true friend will stay to give you support. Friends make you feel good about yourself and don't get jealous of your success. A friend will believe you when no one else will and keep his mouth shut rather than tell you that your feet smell. Friends are people you can share part of your life with, people who appreciate the simplicity of life, know what's real and don't try to put on phony airs. The easiest and best rule of life is to live and let live, don't openly disrespect anyone. Be kind because most people are probably living more turbulent melodramas than you that you don't know about. That's what Malcolm X told his followers. If somebody's minding their own business, even if they're white, let them be. If they get in your face, you're justified to do whatever it takes to remove the threat. In your search for friendship, seek out humble people who live simple lives. The more innocent a person is, the better friend he will be. The more advanced and sophisticated, the more self-centered and callous. My favorite people, regardless of how innocent or worldly they are simply straight shooters. It doesn't matter to them whether they have no status in the world or have all kinds of titles and money. It doesn't affect them either way. They talk to me as straight as I talk to my bosom buddies from childhood. No bull because they know neither of us buy it. How to make friends too. If you want to make new friends and experience social activities, help people, be friendly, bring them food and gifts. Be comforting. Be a companion. Do fun stuff like sing and dance together. Sit in peace and quiet with people to get them to relax and open up to you as opposed to feeling you need to talk about superficial stuff all the time. Have an unselfish caring and an air of affection. Be loving. Be a friend and helper. If you find a true friend, cherish the friendship. Talk about things that matter with your friends. People are compelled to treat you in the same manner you treat them. I.e., if you scream and yell at someone, they feel compelled to scream and yell back. You can frequently disarm an angry adversary by being nice to him, or at least appearing to be nice. If you push to get your way, you will make enemies. Play it cool. It isn't worth it to antagonize people. Honey traps more flies than crap, meaning the way to get what you want from people is by being nice to them. Avoid negative people. Find good people to be with. People generally fulfill your expectations of them. There's a subconscious meaning in there. People sense what you think of them and live up or down to that image. If you want to meet more people, act interested in them and flap your gums. Never give unsolicited advice. Avoid giving advice as much as possible unless someone asks for it. The person giving advice presumes to be superior to the receiver. Don't try to rescue people from their problems. They can only rescue themselves. You're a mirror to the world. Be happy, people will be happy around you. Be miserable, people will be miserable around you. Traits of likable people. Here are some traits of likable people. Be yourself. Don't try to be dominant or pushy. Be clean. Don't have visible vices. Have a warm, soft, friendly vibe. Don't be desperate. Don't be miserable. Don't tell people your problems because everyone has got their own problems. Don't test people by asking for silly favors. Don't engage in the frivolous, uppity vibe. Don't talk too much. Don't ask to borrow money. Don't dress like a bum or a skank. Don't advertise your flamboyance if you're gay. Smile. Be at ease, confident and happy. Maintain eye contact when you talk. Magnetic people reach out and touch others. Not talking about yourself, be curious to get to know other people. Not talking too much. Empathy, making people feel understood. Be kind and compassionate. Don't try to impress, your life is your standard to earn self-respect for you, you will never know what others think, most compliments have ulterior motives. Be the quiet doer not talker. Show praise and appreciation, thank people, give sincere compliments not phony ones which is flattery. Never criticize, it just creates animosity even if you think you're helping the person. I remember I offered someone some unsolicited advice that I thought would help them, but they just hate you for it because they think you're being superior and condescending, not just a good person sincerely trying to help someone. I was at a gym. I tried to tell a girl the right way to do a deadlift so she wouldn't hurt her back, but the vibe she gave me told me to fuck off, mind your own business, asshole. That's the way people are. Sometimes it's better to let them make their own mistakes and learn through experience rather than offering to help. If they ask for help, that's different. The problem with praise is that it gets phony real quick. Better to be quiet than sound like a self-help dictionary. Don't meddle in other people's affairs unless they ask for help, even if they cry on your shoulder. Often they just want to talk to get it out. They don't want a life coach. If you ever watch the reality TV shows on the Women's Network, they all gossip behind each other's backs. Then when the woman who was being told the gossip gets with that woman being gossiped about, she almost always tells her what this other chick said about her, and they all hate each other, but they stick together for the show, I guess. It's one-upmanship among low-level people. With women it's I'm the hottest chick here. With men it's I'm the alpha male here. They can't just be friends. Eliminate negativity. Don't mention anything you don't like. There is no sense talking about things you can't control like the weather or the government. Everyone hates winners and complainers. That's why I don't like some indigenous people here in Canada. Don't blame Whitey. Shut up and get a job like everyone else. Don't constantly beg for money from the government because of some treaty 200 years ago. God owns the land. You didn't own it. When you feel down, don't go around saying woe is me. Either shut up or stay in bed until you feel better. Misery loves company. I used to listen to Renzi.com radio, then I realized they like to all be miserable talking about how fucked up the world is. Smiling is good if it's sincere. Personally, I like calm people who don't give off the BS. Psychobabble about having a great day over the people who are always bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. The only thing I can say about insecurity is that you have to know your true nature and live by it. That's it. I don't care what others think. I can't be insecure because I don't care about the opinions of others. Life is my standard alone. Being real is being who you are by nature. Try not to judge by facial expression. Try to not to grimace when that person you hate walks by. Try to be calm. Don't give him the finger. Don't compete in some illusory standard because it never ends if you feel you have to be the coolest in the room. Just live your life. Conversations aren't competitions. They're friendly banter, not I'm the smartest, wittiest know-it-all ever. Be helping without compromising a person's dignity. Genuinely like people. Make friends at school. Kids don't like kids who are mean, angry, temperamental, too individual, depressed, sullen, smelly, not clean, and kids who don't fit into the stereotypical cool kid image as defined by many shows on TV. Kids are afraid of different kids, like maybe afraid of black kids, kids wearing turbans, disabled kids, etc. If a child is fat, he's a natural target because he doesn't fit the cool image. Some children don't know how to make friends. A lot of children, especially boys, might not have autism, but they are very close to Asperger's syndrome, the inability to empathize with other people. Once a child gets rejected by classmates, he or she starts to hate school. When I was in junior high, we got a new kid in class. At first, Everyone treated him nicely, but within a week, people noticed he wore poor man's clothes to school. Someone said he had lice in his hair, and I observed how quickly everybody shunned him. Like I said, kids have this idea in their heads of what a cool kid is. If you don't match that to some extent, they'll reject you. If you want friends, you have to be being a good sport. Cheer for everyone on your team. Cooperative. Coping with teasing. Fun to be with. Give a smile sometimes. Give some attention to the other person. Helping. Involved in groups and activities. Keep your voice calm and quiet. Listen when the other person talks. Maintaining a conversation. Make a joke. Modest. Participatory. Same race, religion, socioeconomic status, interests. Say something nice when the other person does well. Sense of humor. Share. Show love, or at least like. Similar to the mainstream idea of a cool kid. Sticking up for a friend. Supportive. Take turns. Trustworthy. Negative traits that push people away from you are aggressive/mean. Arrogance. Betrays confidences. Bossy/domineering. Bullying. Crybaby. Dishonest. Disruptive. Don't share. Don't want to fit in, too independent. Gluttonous. Handicapped. Hateful. Insulting/demeaning. Low cognitive skills. Make excuses. Nonconformity to peer conventions. Resistant/rigid. Selfish. Sore loser. Temper tantrums. Withdrawn/apprehensive. In early middle school, popularity and bullying are often connected, especially among girls. The popular group puts some of the others down as a group. It's all about insiders versus outsiders, but it's really all about insecurity, because most of those girls would not be so insensitive if they were alone or not an in-crowder. It's fake power to feel superior for a minute. This is classic bullying. It's an animal instinct to go after the weakest people. Take your child with you everywhere to get him used to going out. Encourage him to play with the neighborhood kids. Possibly get your child to join some outside group like gymnastics, minor sports, a children's music group, religion group, etc. Findarticles.com, Interactions that promote socialization, article on the kind of interaction that promotes healthy socialization in children. Childdevelopmentinfo.com. kidscape.org.uk/children/teens/1makingfriends.html. nncc.org, Network for Child Care. psparents.net, the Public School Parents Network. Friendship in the Bible. Let us consider how to provoke one another to love and good works, not forsaking the assembling of ourselves together, as the habit of some is, but encouraging one another, and so much the more, as you see the day approaching. Hebrews 10:24-25. This is my commandment, that you love one another as I have loved you. Greater love has no man than this, that a man lay down his life for his friends. John 15:12-13. If a brother or sister be naked and lacking daily food, and one of you says to them, Depart in peace, be warmed and filled, and yet you give them not those things which are needful to the body, what is the good of that? James 2:15-17. Grumble not against one another, brethren, lest you be condemned. James 5:9. Be all of one mind, having compassion for one another, love as brethren, be tender-hearted, be courteous, not rendering evil for evil, or abuse for abuse, but, on the contrary, blessing, knowing that you are called so that you should inherit a blessing. 1 Peter 3:8-9. This is how we know the love of God, because he laid down his life for us, and we ought to lay down our lives for the brethren. 1 John 3:16. I say to you, resist not evil, but whoever shall strike you on your right cheek, turn to him the other also. And if any man sue you at the law and take away will your coat, let him have your cloak also. And whoever shall compel you to go a mile, go with him too. Give to him that asks you and turn not away from him that would borrow from you. You have heard that it has been said, you shall love your neighbor and hate your enemy. But I say to you, love your enemies, bless those who curse you, do good to those who hate you and pray for those who spitefully use you and persecute you, that you may be the children of your Father who is in heaven. For he makes his sun to rise on the evil and on the good and sends rain on the just and on the unjust. For if you love those who love you, what have you? Matthew 5:39-46. The soul of Jonathan was united with the soul of David, and Jonathan loved him as his own soul. Then Jonathan and David made a covenant, because he loved him as his own soul. And Jonathan took off his own robe and gave it to David, along with his garments, even his sword and his bow. I Samuel 18:1-4. Two are better than one, because they have a good reward for their labor. For if they fall, the one will lift up his fellow, but woe to him that is alone when he falls, for he has not another to help him up. Again, if two lie together, then they have heat, but how can one be warm alone? And though one may overpower another, yet two shall withstand him, and a threefold cord is not easily broken. Ecclesiastes 4:9-12. This is my commandment, that you love one another, as I have loved you. Greater love has no man than this, that a man lay down his life for his friends. You are my friends if you do whatever I command you. Henceforth I call you not servants, for the servant knows not what his Lord does. But I have called you friends, for all things that I have heard from my Father I have made known to you. John 15:12-15. Regarding brotherly love, you need not that I write to you, for you yourselves are taught by God to love one another. And indeed you do it toward all the brethren which are in all Macedonia, but we appeal to you, brethren, that you increase more and more. 1 Thessalonians 4:9-10. The poor is hated even by his own neighbor, but the rich has many friends. Proverbs 14:20. A perverse man sows strife and a gossip separates close friends. Proverbs 16:8. He that forgives a transgression promotes love, but he who repeats a matter separates true friends. Proverbs 17:9. A friend loves at all times and a brother is born for adversity. Proverbs 17:17. A man that has friends must show himself friendly, and there is a friend that sticks closer than a brother. Proverbs 18:24. Make no friendship with an angry man, and with a furious man you shall not go, lest you learn his ways and set a snare for your soul. Proverbs 22:24-25. Withdraw your foot from your neighbor's house, lest he grow weary of you and so hate you. Proverbs 25:17. As a madman who shoots firebrands, arrows, and death, so is the man who deceives his neighbor and says, I am only joking. Proverbs 26:18-19. Faithful are the wounds of a friend, but the kisses of an enemy are deceitful. Proverbs 27:6. Business friendship quotes at whoopidoo.com/business_quote/friendship-quotes.htm. Animals are born who they are, accept it, and that is that. They live with it. Family, religion, friends. These are the three demons you must slay if you wish to succeed in business. Monty Burns, family, friends, success, business. On one level, going bust didn't bother me. It was the 80s and there wasn't the stigma about bankruptcy that you might think. My mates weren't bothered. My dad was in business. He knew that it happened, too. He loaned me the money to bail me out and I got a loan from the bank to pay him back. Simon Cowell, bankrupt, friends, business, banks, loan, family, money. My mother always told me that no matter how much you dislike a person, when you meet them face to face you will find characteristics about them that you like. Jerry Falwell was a perfect example of that. I hated everything he stood for, but after meeting him in person, years after the trial, Jerry Falwell and I became good friends. Larry Flint, mother, hate, friendship. They might be a good friend, but they are also a bitter commercial rival. Let's not kid ourselves. The American wheat industry has done everything it possibly can to criticize the Australian wheat industry in order to take the Iraqi wheat market from us. John Howard, America, competition, friendship, Australia. You learn in this business. If you want a friend, get a dog. Carl Icahn, business, learning. Let every nation know, whether it wishes us well or ill, that we shall pay any price, bear any burden, meet any hardship, support any friend, oppose any foe to assure the survival and the success of liberty. John F. Kennedy, USA, friendship, freedom, warning, liberty, success, support, survival. I'm far from being reclusive. I have 30 or 40-year friendships that I prefer to meeting new people. I go to an occasional party, but just because I don't go to a lot of events and I'm not out in public all the time doesn't mean I'm antisocial or a recluse. Kirk Kerkorian, friendship, people. America has no permanent friends or enemies, only interests. Henry Kissinger, geopolitics, America, friends, enemy. Bill Maher and I are on against each other and we're friends. He can do my show anytime he wants and I've done politically incorrect several times. There's no reason to think competition has to be adversarial. Jay Leno, competition, friends, political. I had one simple idea about telling friends about arts and technology events. People in the community suggested everything else to us and that's our theme. We're really run by the people who use the site. We just run the infrastructure and help out with problems. Craig Newmark, technology, people, ideas, friends, help, problems, internet. Over a long distance, you learn about the strength of your horse, over a long time, you learn about the character of your friend. Chinese proverbs, learning, strength, friendship. I am convinced that material things can contribute a lot to making one's life pleasant, but, basically, if you do not have very good friends and relatives who matter to you, life will be really empty and sad and material things cease to be important. David Rockefeller, wealth, money, friends, important, family, sad, material, pleasant, life, prosperity. A friendship founded on business is a good deal better than a business founded on friendship. John D. Rockefeller, business, partnership. I know I have been portrayed as a general looking for war. Many other headlines speak of that. That's what people say. But I understand the importance of peace because I saw the horrors of war. That's how I see it. I lost my best friends in battles. And I had to make decisions of life and death, of others and myself. Ariel Sharon, war, friendship, peace. He is extremely loyal to his friends, but he is tougher than anyone if he feels betrayed. Talking about her father. Ivanka Trump, friendship, attitude. eBay had two main things that really spoke to me. It enabled individuals to do things that they could not have done without the web. The second thing was what Pierre said, people have met their best friends on eBay. What this has enabled is truly online community. Meg Whitman, eBay, Internet, community, friends. Lots of people want to ride with you in the limo, but what you want is someone who will take the bus with you when the limo breaks down. Oprah Winfrey, friendship, rich. If you go looking for a friend, you're going to find they're very scarce. If you go out to be a friend, you'll find them everywhere. Zig Ziglar, friends, encouragement. Chapter 3. Friendship quotes and one-liners. Friendship quotes 1. A true friend is the greatest of all blessings and that which we take the least care of all to acquire. François Duc de La Rochefoucauld. A friend may well be reckoned the masterpiece of nature. Ralph Waldo Emerson. A friend is someone who knows the song in your heart and can sing it back to you when you have forgotten the words. A friend is a gift you give yourself. Robert Louis Stevenson. A friend is one who knows all about you and likes you anyway. Christy Mary Warner. A friend can tell you things you don't want to tell yourself. Francis Ward Weller. Am I not destroying my enemies when I make friends of them? Abraham Lincoln. An ounce of blood is worth more than a pound of friendship. Spanish proverb. Between men and women there is no friendship possible. There is passion, enmity, worship, love but no friendship. Oscar Wilde. But friendship is precious, not only in the shade but in the sunshine of life, and thanks to a benevolent arrangement of things, the greater part of life is sunshine. Thomas Jefferson. Don't walk in front of me, I may not follow. Don't walk behind me, I may not lead. Just walk beside me and be my friend. Don't believe your friends when they ask you to be honest with them. All they really want is to be maintained in the good opinion they have of themselves. Albert Camus. Each friend represents a world in us, a world possibly not born until they arrive, and it is only by this meeting that a new world is born. Anais Nin. Forsake not an old friend, for a new one does not compare with him. Apocrypha. Ecclesiasticus 9:10. Friends are born, not made. Henry Adams. Friends are God's way of apologizing to us for our families. No person is your friend who demands your silence, or denies your right to grow. Alice Walker. Friendship is constant in all other things, save in the office and affairs of love. Friendship is a single soul dwelling in two bodies. Friendship is a strong and habitual inclination in two persons to promote the good and happiness of one another. Eustace Budgell. Friendship is the marriage of the soul, and this marriage is liable to divorce. Friendship often ends in love, but love in friendship, never. Charles Caleb Colden. God save me from my friends, I can protect myself from my enemies. Proverb. Hold a true friend with both your hands. Nigerian proverb. How can sincerity be a condition of friendship? A taste for truth at any cost is a passion which spares nothing. However rare true love may be, it is less so than true friendship. I do not want a friend who smiles when I smile, who weeps when I weep, for my shadow in the pool can do better than that. If I had to choose between betraying my country and betraying my friend, I hope I should have the guts to betray my country. E. M. Forster. If a man should importune me to give a reason why I loved him, I find it could no otherwise be expressed, than by making answer, because it was he, because it was I. Michel de Montaigne. In times of prosperity friends will be plenty, in time of adversity not 1 in 20. English proverb. It is one of the blessings of old friends that you can afford to be stupid with them. It is the friends that you can call at 4 a.m. that matter. Marlene Dietrich. It is in the 30s that we want friends. In the 40s we know they won't save us any more than love did. F. Scott Fitzgerald. It's no good trying to keep up old friendships. It's painful for both sides. The fact is, one grows out of people and the only thing is to face it. Friendship quotes 2. Life without a friend is death without a witness. Love demands infinitely less than friendship. My best friend is the one that brings out the best in me. Henry Ford. My best friend is the man who in wishing me well wishes it for my sake. Aristotle. My father always used to say that when you die, if you've got 5 real friends, then you've had a great life. Lee Iacocca. 9/10 of the people were created so you would want to be with the other 10th. Horace Walpole. No man can be happy without a friend, nor be sure of his friend till he is unhappy. Thomas Fuller. Odd how much it hurts when a friend moves away, and leaves behind only silence. Pam Brown. Real friendship is shown in times of trouble. Prosperity is full of friends. Euripides. Remember friends as you pass by. As you are now, so once was I. As low as I you once must be. Prepare yourself and follow me. Gravestone from the 1800s. Silence is the true friend that never betrays. Confucius. Sometimes our light goes out but is blown into flame by another human being. Each of us owes deepest thanks to those who have rekindled this light. Albert Schweitzer. Friendship quotes 2. The most I can do for my friend is simply to be his friend. Henry David Thoreau. The most deadly fruit is borne by the hatred which one grafts on an extinguished friendship. Gotthold Ephraim Lessing. The proper office of a friend is to side with you when you are in the wrong. Nearly anybody will side with you when you are in the right. Mark Twain. The only way to have a friend is to be one. There are no such things as strangers, only friends we haven't met yet. Anonymous. There comes that mysterious meeting in life when someone acknowledges who we are and what we can be, igniting the circuits of our highest potential. Rusty Berkhus. This communicating of a man's self to his friend works two contrary effects, for it redoubleth joys and cutteth griefs in half. Francis Bacon. To know someone here or there with whom you can feel there is understanding in spite of distances or thoughts expressed that can make life a garden. Goethe. To me, fair friend, you never can be old. For as you were when first your eye eyed, such seems your beauty still. We know our friends by their defects rather than by their merits. We are all travelers in the wilderness of this world, and the best we can find in our travels is an honest friend. Robert Louis Stevenson. What a wretched lot of old shriveled creatures we shall be banned by. Never mind, the uglier we get in the eyes of others, the lovelier we shall be to each other. That has always been my firm faith about friendship. George Eliot. Women can form a friendship with a man very well, but to preserve it, to that end a slight physical antipathy must probably help. You can make more friends in 2 months by becoming interested in other people than you can in 2 years by trying to get other people interested in you. Dale Carnegie. You can hardly make a friend in a year, but you can easily offend one in an hour. Chinese proverb. You can make more friends in 2 months by becoming interested in other people than you can by trying to get other people interested in you. Your friend is the man who knows all about you and still likes you. Elbert Hubbard. Friendship quotes. A man cannot be said to succeed in this life who does not satisfy one friend. A friend is, as it were, a second self. Marcus Tullius Cicero. A man's friendships are one of the best measures of his worth. Charles Darwin. A good friend can tell you what is the matter with you in a minute. He may not seem such a good friend after telling. Arthur Brisbane, The Book of Today. A real friend is one who walks in when the rest of the world walks out. Walter Winchell. Friends show their love in times of trouble, not in happiness. Euripides. So long as the memory of certain beloved friends lives in my heart, I shall say that life is good. Helen Keller. A hug is like a boomerang. You get it back right away. A true friend freely, advises justly, assists readily, adventures boldly, takes all patiently, defends courageously, and continues a friend unchangeably. William Penn. A man's growth is seen in the successive choirs of his friends. A friend to all is a friend to none. A friendship can weather most things and thrive in thin soil, but it needs a little mulch of letters and phone calls and small, silly presents every so often just to save it from drying out completely. A single rose can be my garden. A single friend, my world. Leo Buscaglia. Love is the only force capable of transforming an enemy into friend. Martin Luther King, Jr. A true friend never gets in your way unless you happen to be going down. Arnold H. Glaso. A true friend is one who overlooks your failures and tolerates your success. Doug Larson. A friendship founded on business is better than a business founded on friendship. John D. Rockefeller. François de la Rochefoucauld. A friend is one who knows you and loves you just the same. Don't walk behind me, I may not lead. Don't walk in front of me, I may not follow. Just walk beside me and be my friend. An insincere and evil friend is more to be feared than a wild beast. A wild beast may wound your body, but an evil friend will wound your mind. An excellent man, he has no enemies, and none of his friends like him. As iron sharpens iron, so a friend sharpens a friend. King Solomon. Be courteous to all, but intimate with few, and let those few be well tried before you give them your confidence. True friendship is a plant of slow growth and must undergo and withstand the shocks of adversity before it is entitled to the appellation. George Washington. To have a friend takes time. All people want is someone to listen. Friendship is certainly the finest balm for the pangs of disappointed love. Jane Austen, Northanger Abbey. Be slow in choosing a friend, slower in changing. Benjamin Franklin. Be slow to fall into friendship, but when thou art in, continue firm and constant. Socrates. Being friendless taught me how to be a friend. Funny how that works. Colleen Wainwright, Communicatrix. Have no friends not equal to yourself. Confucius. But friendship is precious, not only in the shade, but in the sunshine of life, and thanks to a benevolent arrangement the greater part of life is sunshine. Do not protect yourself by offense, but rather by your friends. Dale Carnegie. Each friend represents a world in us, a world not born until they arrive, and it is only by this meeting that a new world is born. Friendship quotes 3. False friendship, like the ivy, decays and ruins the walls it embraces, but true friendship gives new life and animation to the object it supports. Richard Burton. Fear makes strangers of people who would be friends. Shirley MacLaine. Friends and good manners will carry you where money won't go. Margaret Walker. Friends cherish one another's hopes. They are kind to one another's dreams. Friendship improves happiness and abates misery, by the doubling of our joy and the dividing of our grief. Friendship is unnecessary, like philosophy, like art. It has no survival value, rather it is one of those things that give value to survival. C.S. Lewis. Friendship is the source of the greatest pleasures, and without friends even the most agreeable pursuits become tedious. Thomas Aquinas. Friendship is not something you learn in school. If you haven't learned the meaning of friendship, you really haven't learned anything. Muhammad Ali. Friendship and money, oil and water. Mario Puzo. Friendship is certainly the finest balm for the pangs of disappointed love. Jane Austen. Friendship is the breathing rose, with sweets in every fold. Oliver Wendell Holmes, Sr. Friendship multiplies the good of life and divides the evil. Baltasar Gracian. Friendship needs no words, it is solitude delivered from the anguish of loneliness. Dag Hammarskjöld. Go through your phone book, call people, and ask them to drive you to the airport. The ones who will drive you are your true friends. The rest aren't bad people, they're just acquaintances. Jay Leno. Good company requires only birth, education, and manners, and with regard to education is not very nice. Birth and good manners are essential, but a little learning is by no means a dangerous thing in good company, on the contrary, it will do very well. Jane Austen, Persuasion, 1818. He who has 1,000 friends has not a friend to spare. And he who has one enemy will meet him everywhere. Ali ibn Abi Talib, 100 Sayings. He who hath many friends hath none. Here and there, human nature may be great in times of trial, but generally speaking, it is its weakness and not its strength that appears in a sick chamber. It is selfishness and impatience rather than generosity and fortitude, that one hears of. There is so little real friendship in the world. And unfortunately, there are so many who forget to think seriously till it is almost too late. I don't need a friend who changes when I change and who nods when I nod, my shadow does that much better. Plutarch. I cannot even imagine where I would be today were it not for that handful of friends who have given me a heart full of joy. Let's face it, Friends make life a lot more fun. Charles R. Swindle. I always felt that the great high privilege, relief, and comfort of friendship was that one had to explain nothing. Catherine Mansfield. I can better trust those who help to relieve the gloom of my dark hours than those who are so ready to enjoy with me the sunshine of my prosperity. Ulysses S. Grant. I have friends in overalls whose friendship I would not swap for the favor of the kings of the world. Thomas A. Edison. If instead of a gem, or even a flower, we should cast the gift of a loving thought into the heart of a friend, that would be giving as the angels give. George MacDonald. If you have one true friend, you have more than your share. In the sweetness of friendship let there be laughter and sharing of pleasures. For in the dew of little things the heart finds its morning and is refreshed. Khalil Gibran. In prosperity our friends know us, in adversity we know our friends. John Chitton Collins. Instead of loving your enemies, treat your friends a little better. E.W. Howe. I have learned that to be with those I like is enough. Walt Whitman. George Washington. It is only the great-hearted who can be true friends. The mean and cowardly can never know what true friendship means. Charles Kingsley. It takes a long time to grow an old friend. John Leonard. It is not so much our friends' help that helps us, as the confidence of their help. Epicurus. It is wise to apply the oil of refined politeness to the mechanisms of friendship. Colette, The Pure and the Impure, 1932. It is more shameful to distrust our friends than to be deceived by them. It's the friends you can call up at 4 a.m. that matter. Laughter is not at all a bad beginning for a friendship, and it is far the best ending for one. Let there be no purpose in friendship save the deepening of the spirit. Let us be grateful to people who make us happy, they are the charming gardeners who make our souls blossom. Marcel Proust. Lots of people want to ride with you in the limo, but what you want is someone who will take the bus with you when the limo breaks down. Oprah Winfrey. Love is blind, friendship closes its eyes. Friedrich Nietzsche. Love, enemy, friend. A friend is someone who gives you total freedom to be yourself. Lovers have a right to betray you. Friends don't. Judy Holliday. Men kick friendship around like a football, but it doesn't seem to crack. Women treat it like glass and it goes to pieces. Anne Morrow Lindbergh. Misfortune shows those who are not really friends. Aristotle, Eudemian Ethics. A true friend is someone who is there for you when he'd rather be anywhere else. Len Wein. My friends are my estate. Emily Dickinson. My best friend is the one who brings out the best in me. My idea of good company is the company of clever, well-informed people, who have a great deal of conversation. That is what I call good company. Never do a wrong thing to make a friend or to keep one. Never explain. Your friends do not need it and your enemies will not believe you anyway. Never contract friendship with a man that is not better than thyself. Never have a companion that casts you in the shade. No person is your friend who demands your silence, or denies your right to grow. Alice Walker. Nothing changes your opinion of a friend so surely as success, yours or his. Franklin P. Jones, Saturday Evening Post, November 29, 1953. Nothing but heaven itself is better than a friend who is really a friend. Plautus. The world is round so that friendship may encircle it. Pierre Teilhard de Chardin. Never make friends with people who are above or below you in status. Such friendships will never give you any happiness. Chanakya. Old friends is always best, less you can catch a new one that's fit to make an old one out of. Sarah Orne Jewett. One of the most beautiful qualities of true friendship is to understand and to be understood. Lucius Annius Seneca. Walking with a friend in the dark is better than walking alone in the light. In everyone's life, at some time, our inner fire goes out. It is then burst into flame by an encounter with another human being. We should all be thankful for those people who rekindle the inner spirit. One loyal friend is worth 10,000 relatives. A friend should be one in whose understanding and virtue we can equally confide and whose opinion we can value at once for its justness and its sincerity. Robert Hall. Our friends interpret the world and ourselves to us, if we take them tenderly and truly. Amos Bronson Alcott. Rejoicing in our joy, not suffering over our suffering, makes someone a friend. Rare as is true love, true friendship is rarer. Jean de La Fontaine. She is a friend of mine. She gather me, man. The pieces I am, she gather them and give them back to me in all the right order. It's good, you know, when you got a woman who is a friend of your mind. Toni Morrison. She felt that she could so much more depend upon the sincerity of those who sometimes looked or said a careless or a hasty thing, than of those whose presence of mind never varied, whose tongue never slipped. Silences make the real conversations between friends. Not the saying but the never needing to say is what counts. Margaret Lee Runbeck. Since there is nothing so well worth having as friends, never lose a chance to make them. Francesco Guicciardini. Friendship is one mind in two bodies. Some people go to priests, others to poetry, I to my friends. Virginia Woolf. Sometimes being a friend means mastering the art of timing. Sweet is the memory of distant friends. Like the mellow rays of the departing sun, it falls tenderly, yet sadly, on the heart. Washington Irving. The friend who can be silent with us in a moment of despair or confusion, who can stay with us in an hour of grief and bereavement, who can tolerate not knowing. That is a friend who cares. Henry Nguyen. The sincere friends of this world are as ship lights in the stormiest of nights. Giotto de Bondone. The most I can do for my friend is simply be his friend. The shifts of fortune test the reliability of friends. Cicero, de Amicitia. The meeting of two personalities is like the contact of two chemical substances, if there is any reaction, both are transformed. Carl Jung. Friendship make prosperity more shining and lessens adversity by dividing and sharing it. Cicero, on friendship. The language of friendship is not words but meanings. The thing about chameleoning your way through life is that it gets to where nothing is real. John Green, An Abundance of Catherines. The bird a nest, the spider a web, man friendship. William Blake. The greatest gift of life is friendship. The best time to make friends is before you need them. Ethel Barrymore. A quarrel between friends, when made up, adds a new tie to friendship. Saint Francis de Sales. The friend in my adversity I shall always cherish most. There are no strangers, only friends you haven't met yet. Friends were like clothes, fine while they lasted but eventually they wore thin or you grew out of them. David Nichols, One Day, 2010. There is a time for silence. A time to let go and allow people to hurl themselves into their own destiny. And a time to prepare to pick up the pieces when it's all over. Octavia Butler. Friendship quotes 4. There is nothing on this earth more to be prized than true friendship. There is some self-interest behind every friendship. There is no friendship without self-interests. This is a bitter truth. There is a magnet in your heart that will attract true friends. That magnet is unselfishness, thinking of others first. When you learn to live for others, they will live for you. Paramahansa Yogananda. There are no strangers here, only friends you haven't yet met. William Butler Yeats. There's nothing like a really loyal, dependable, good friend. Things are never quite as scary when you've got a best friend. Bill Watterson. To flatter and follow others, without being flattered and followed in turn, is but a state of half enjoyment. True friends stab you in the front. True friendship can afford true knowledge. It does not depend on darkness and ignorance. True friendship is like sound health, the value of it is seldom known until it is lost. We call that person who has lost his father, an orphan, and a widower that man who has lost his wife. But that man who has known the immense unhappiness of losing a friend, By what name do we call him? Here every language is silent and holds its peace in impotence. Joseph Roux. What is a friend? A single soul dwelling in two bodies. When the character of a man is not clear to you, look at his friends. Japanese proverb. When you choose your friends, don't be shortchanged by choosing personality over character. W. Somerset Maugham. When a friend is in trouble, don't ask if there is anything you can do. Think up something and do it. When we honestly ask ourselves which person in our lives means the most to us, we often find that it is those who, instead of giving advice, solutions, or cures, have chosen rather to share our pain and touch our wounds with a warm and tender hand. Where would you be without friends? The people to pick you up when you need lifting? Wishing to be friends is quick work, but friendship is a slow ripening fruit. Without friends no one would choose to live, though he had all other goods. Aristotle, Nicomachean Ethics. You can always tell a real friend, when you've made a fool of yourself he doesn't feel you've done a permanent job. Lawrence J. Peter. You're supposed to trust friends, trusting without absolute evidence and then being rewarded for that trust. Elbert Hubbard. Friendship one-liners 1. The ancient Romans had 3 levels of friends. Ones who they invited into their homes. Ones who waited in the courtyard. Ones who waited outside under the supervision of servants. A friend doesn't try to use you but tries to deepen the souls of both of you. I've never made a friend I couldn't lose nor an enemy I couldn't do business with. One cannot and should not trust another person all the way. The more lonely and isolated I am, the more I have come to love the myth of friendship. Your friends will know you better in the first minute you meet them than your acquaintances will know you in 1,000 years. You can make a new friend but not an old friend. Don't be too quick to dump friends over little things. Friendships are most at risk during the busy career years. Turn to friends for guidance and empathy. Lifelong friendships make you happier and healthier. Good friendships have unspoken boundaries. Don't brag. Friends talk to each other. Friends offer solace in moments of grief. Women talk, cry together, share secrets. Men play sports, cards, and work together on projects or tasks. Forgiveness is being a friend. 2 are better off than 1, because together they can work more effectively. If one of them falls down, the other can help him up. But if someone is alone and falls, it's just too bad, because there is no one to help him. Song of Solomon, Chap 4, Number 9. Friends, one soul in 2 bodies. The more open and personal you are, the more people will respond to you. Friendship is a union of spirits, a marriage of hearts and the bond of virtue. W.M. Penn. In prosperity our friends know us. In adversity, we know our friends. Encourage others to talk about themselves. Talk about what the other person wants to talk about. Talk to people about themselves. Avoid arguments by focusing on peace. A man hears what he wants to hear and disregards the rest. Arguments rarely win anything. They destroy relationships. If you tell someone they're wrong, you create animosity. Instead, suggest another way to do it. In the book of Proverbs, they say people see the most trouble with their tongues. If you got something bad to say, keep your mouth shut. The politicians who win elections are not the loud, obnoxious ones. They are the friendly, nice ones. Let your friends shine. Don't try to outdo them all the time. Let others do most of the talking. Show compassion toward others. Be empathetic. See life from their point of view. Inspire others through what you do. Correct mistakes not by showing disgust but by showing another way to do it. Give compliments. Be friendly and sociable. People who seem to smile at nothing generally look stupid. I say don't scowl. Have a neutral facial expression, like open to life, curious but not smiling like a geek. Have good manners. Try number 395 at the library. Remember a person's name. Don't criticize until you are perfect. Mind your own business. Don't be a gossip. Kindness goes a lot further than anger. Flattery is fake praise. If somebody helps you, thank them by giving them something, even your time. A lot of people feel superior to others. If you feel that way, don't advertise it. Be interested in the other person. Try to have pure intentions without ulterior motives. If you help people, you will make many friends. People always like people who listen to them. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Anything can be solved by talking it out. If you have more friends than you can count on one hand, then you don't have any friends at all. Men's friendships are based on shared activities, women's friendships are based on mutual self-disclosure. Friendship is not affected by status, monetary worth, or competition. Friends broaden our horizons and enhance our pleasure. I am a man dominated by a desire for security. Friendship doesn't give it to me. Abu Hayyan al-Tahidi, 932-1023, Epistles on Friendship. A friend is someone who makes you feel better about yourself. Friendship one-liners 2. Be respectful. Be loyal. Be straight. Be clear about where you stand on the relevant issues. Don't BS anyone. 1 friend in life is much, 2 are many, and 3 hardly possible. Henry Adams, historian. She became for me an island of light, fun, wisdom where I could run with my discoveries and torments and hopes at any time of day and find welcome. May Sarton. A day for toil, an hour for sport, but a friend for life is too short. Ralph Waldo Emerson, 1803-1882. If it's not true, necessary, or kind, don't say it. A true friend always wants what's best for you. Don't walk in front of me, I may not follow. Don't walk behind me, I may not lead. Walk beside me and be my friend. A friend is someone who offers to help. A friend treats his friends and enemies with kindness. A friend is someone you look forward to being with and don't want to leave. Make a friend of a friend doubly your friend. Here's to goodbyes, that they never be spoken. Here's to friendships, that they never be broken. We can't choose our relatives but can choose our friends. A friend is someone who will let you be right even if he knows you're wrong. A friend is a gift you give to yourself. Treat people as if you assume they're noble beings, and they will usually try to match your standard. Everybody has a sign hanging on them saying, "Make me feel important." If someone tries to dampen your spirit in any way at all, it doesn't matter who they are, a spouse, parent, etc., they're not your friend. Stay away from them as much as possible. The most offensive people are the ones who need love most. Forgiveness is letting go of all negativity. Tolerance to everything is the key to life. Don't look at people as physical bodies. Look at them as souls in bodies. Don't burn bridges. You might need those people. Be friends with everybody. You never know when you will need help. Everyone likes a joker, but nobody takes him seriously. The best way to keep your word is not to give it. Friendship is the wine of life. Drink it well. A friend knows you well and loves you despite it. Friends stay forever. May we have more and more friends and need them less and less. Wherever it may be, we all come from the same place. Everybody hates a know-it-all and someone who talks too much. Your relationships with other people reflect the real you. Old friends are scarce, new friends are few, here's hoping I've found one of each in you. If you get into an argument, quietly let the other person think they've won. Be smart by not letting it get to you, plus the fact that the other person will shut up when they see you aren't fighting back. Before you judge anyone, walk in their shoes. Try to develop the quality of compassion. If you're a bad, angry person or a good one, you will find your own kind to hang out with because that's what you know and feel comfortable with. Don't take a high moral stance. Jesus said, "Don't judge lest ye be judged." Everybody has skeletons. Deal with your enemies by consciously treating them as you would treat Jesus or your God, with kindness and gentleness even if you can't stand them. Great people keep the common touch. If you can make people laugh, you can get what you want out of them. See yourself as others see you. If you give people enough love, they come alive. There are a lot of trivial people out there who will try to steal your joy from you. Never apologize for showing emotion because it's the truth. A friend is someone you can think aloud to. A self-assured person accepts the uniqueness and beauty of others. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. A friend doesn't try to use you but tries to deepen the souls of both of you. I've never made a friend I couldn't lose nor an enemy I couldn't do business with. You can make a new friend but not an old friend. Don't be too quick to dump friends over little things. Someone is alone and falls, it's just too bad, because there is no one to help him. Song of Solomon, Chapter 4, Number 9. Men's friendships are based on shared activities, women's friendships are based on mutual self-disclosure. I am a man dominated by a desire for security. Friendship doesn't give it to me. Be respectful. Be loyal. Be straight. Be clear about where you stand on the relevant issues. Don't bullshit anyone. If it's not true, necessary, or kind, don't say it. A true friend always wants what's best for you. Don't walk in front of me, I may not follow. Don't walk behind me, I may not lead. Walk beside me and be my friend. A friend is someone you look forward to being with and don't want to leave. Here's to goodbyes, that they never be spoken. Here's to friendships, that they never be broken. We can't choose our relatives but can choose our friends. A friend is someone who will let you be right even if he knows you're wrong. Treat people as if you assume they're noble beings and they will usually try to match your standard. Everybody has a sign hanging on them saying, "Make me feel important." If someone tries to dampen your spirit in any way at all, it doesn't matter who they are, a spouse, parent, etc., they're not your friend. Stay away from them as much as possible. Don't look at people as physical bodies. Look at them as souls in bodies. Don't burn bridges. You might need those people. Old friends are scarce, new friends are few, here's hoping I've found one of each in you. If you get into an argument, quietly let the other person think they've won. Be smart by not letting it get to you, plus the fact that the other person will shut up when they see you aren't fighting back. Don't take a high moral stance. Jesus said, "Don't judge lest ye be judged." Everybody has skeletons. Deal with your enemies by consciously treating them as you would treat Jesus or your God, with kindness and gentleness even if you can't stand them. Friendship one-liners at onalynefun.com/friendship. A treehouse is the biggest insult to a tree. Here, I killed your friend. Hold him. A friend is like a book, you don't need to read all of them, just pick the best ones. A mate said he saw several elderly men repairing shoes in the back of a van. I reckon it's a load of old cobblers. Alzheimer's can't be that bad. You get to meet new people every day. Cats are a great pet if you've ever wanted convenient access to a friend that hurts your feelings. Cults make perfect sense. Do you know how hard it is to make friends as an adult? Do you know a funny one-liner? Add your one-liner to our site and see how good it is. Everyone has a friend who laughs funnier than he jokes. Friends wave red flags when you have a bad idea. Real friends pick up a camera. How did two oceans or seas become friends? Because they kept waving at each other. I always tell new hires, don't think of me as your boss, think of me as your friend who can fire you. I recently heard about a mannequin that lost all of his friends because he was so clothes-minded. I'm having an introvert party and you're all not invited. I've never enjoyed my surprise birthday parties because all I can think about is how good my friends are at lying to my face. If you had friends like mine, you'd be the luckiest guy in the world. It's always a good idea to make friends with babies. That's free cake once a year for a lifetime. Let me make this simple, I want to be invited but I don't want to go. My New Year's resolution is to help all my friends gain 10 pounds so I look skinnier. My best mates and I played a game of hide and seek. It went on for hours. Well, good friends are hard to find. My buddy set me up on a blind date and said, "Heads up, she's expecting a baby." Felt like an idiot sitting in the bar wearing just a diaper. My friends laughed at me when I told them I had a hot date and they said she was imaginary. Well, the joke's on them, they're imaginary too. Occasionally, a true friend gives his paw not his hand. Rap videos are completely unrealistic. Nobody has that many friends. Sometimes we expect more from others because we would be willing to do that much more for them. Sometimes, when I am matching socks, I think, what if these two socks don't even like each other? Taking my husband's last name doesn't mean I'm not a feminist, it means I don't want anyone I went to high school with to be able to find me ever again. The difference between girlfriend and girlfriend is that little space in between we call the friend zone. There are few things I enjoy more than picking an argument with my girlfriend when she has the hiccups. What do friends and trees have in common? They both fall down when you hit them with an axe. Why call someone when you can just decide where you and your friend want to meet by exchanging 76 text messages? You know you're getting old when you have more candles on your cake than friends at your birthday party. Chapter 4. Friendship Ideas, mostly online. Internet friendships. True in the flesh friendship is devolving to a superficial friendship with intimate strangers you've never met on a screen. When I was in college and only nerds used an obscure concept called the internet, I thought those people were strange at the computer center who sat there by themselves typing stuff into a computer then making emotional sounds and gestures as they communicated with somebody in cyberspace. There was a kind of loneliness to it, like it was a cheap substitute for real friendships. What really sold me on the lie of Facebook was when this person with several hundred Facebook friends invited them all to his place for a party. Many said they were going but not one person showed up. When he asked a few of them why did they say they were coming and didn't show, they were taken aback as though they thought cyberspace was a separate reality from their real lives, kinda like a fantasy where there's no real loyalty. Find an online friend. Friendfinder.com, penpalnet.com, penpalsno.com, meechundar.com/sapi/menu-e.html, penpals in the former Soviet Union. Interpals.net. agirls.com/jerry/penpal/index.html, penpal girls with online pen. Pals. japan-guide.com/penfriend/index_e.mv, Japan penfriend. slf.ruhr-uni-bocum.de/email/idxn00.html, find a pen pal to learn a language. WriteSeniors.com, write a senior. POF.com, OkCupid.com, Match.com, eHarmony.com, DatingFaces.com, one-and-only.com, Kiss.com, Matchmaker.com, AmericansIngly.com, InternetDating.net, Meetup.com and EventBeRight.com help you meet people in real life. They list public events for different topics in your area. Friendship parties to meet people. Back in the day, our parties were a bunch of people getting together to get drunk or high. A friendship party is a small group of people who all agree to bring at least one single friend to the party with the purpose of meeting others for a possible relationship. friendshiptea.com/parties.htm, friendship tea parties. theholidaysspot.com/friendship/party_ideas.htm, girlfriendcelebrations.com, cooking-dinner-parties.meetup.com, easypartyzone.com, friendshipexchange.net, the Friend Finder family of websites, ffn.com, ffn.com, perfectmatch.com, fastcupid.com, the Spanish version of Friend Finder, amigos.com, Friendfinder.com, AsiaFriendfinder.com, AsiaFind.com, BigChurch.com, Chinese Friend Finder, Filipino Friend Finder, FrenchFriendfinder.com, Gay Friend Finder, German Friend Finder, Indian Friend Finder, Italian Friend Finder, Jewish Friend Finder, KoreanFriendfinder.com, Senior Friend Finder, YoungAtHeart.com, AllPersonals.com, FriendPages.com, create a free homepage, GradFinder.com, SocialFlirt.com, AdultFriendfinder.com, ALT.com, BDSM.com, Bondage.com, GetItun.com, webcam to webcam networking site, HotMatch.com, LesbianPersonals.com, LikeMyGayPhoto.com, LikeMyNudePhoto.com, LikeMyPhoto.com, MillionaireMate.com, Passion.com, Xmatch.com, Cams.com, Live Adult Entertainment. Find an old friend website / reunion websites. Go to social media websites and type their names in. MySpace.com, MyYearbook.com, Facebook.com, MyLife.com, Classmates.com, FriendsReunited.com, Friends websites / friendship club websites. Friendship clubs are clubs that could have any theme to them at all or have no theme beyond friendship. They could be online only, real life meetings, both. They're not necessarily dating and singles clubs. A look business.co.uk, list of Kolkata friendship clubs. Alstonyfield.org, friendship club, everyone is welcome to join the club, which is definitely not just for old people. Archclubs.com, the umbrella body in Ireland for 50 friendship clubs catering for people with special needs. AVA.org, American Volkssport Association walking clubs and walking Volksmarch. Book-club-queen.com, Friendship Club Pocatello, Idaho. CelebrateFriendship.org. ChatChaywanChocolate.com, Chat Chew and Chocolate, fun, friendship, and inspiration for busy women. ClubPlanet.com. Facebook.com, The Friendship Club. FriendsyArch.com. Friendship.org. FriendshipFWB.com/clubs.php, Friendship Free Will Baptist Church. Friendster.com. HighlandFriendshipClub.org. gparty.com, Japan International Friendship Club International Friendship Site. LinkedIn.com. MeClubPlanet.com. MyFBM.com/friendship-club, The Friendship Bracelet Club. NewFriends4U.com/guide/friendship_clubs_online.html. Nonprofitlist.org. Reeze.com. Superfriendshipclub.com, a place for people to talk about games they're making and get feedback on them and stuff. TheFriendshipForce.org/club/clubfinder.aspx. UKCruisers.net. ValleyFriendshipClub.org. Witchclub.co.uk. Teen Friends websites. Teens go on chat rooms a lot. BuddyPick.com. Facebook.com. HighSchoolHotties.com. HotOrNot.com. MySpace.com.